Catechism 1336 has this very beautiful reminder. It says, the Eucharist and the cross are stumbling blocks. It is the same mystery, and it never ceases to be an occasion of division. That to receive in faith the gift of the Eucharist is to receive the Lord himself. The cross and the Eucharist are stumbling blocks. We see in the Gospels when God tells them they will have to take and eat his body. We see so many leave Jesus, so many disciples go away, and he turns to the apostles and he says, are you going to leave too? And they say they are going to stay, and that is why they are the first priests, because they stayed, they understood, and they believed even when it was difficult. The same thing with the cross. The cross continues to cause people to flee God, because they don't want to suffer. They don't want to accept that they're going to have to die to themselves. They don't want to accept that they're going to have to acknowledge their need for God, their need for him. Again, as I said at the beginning, this reception of the Eucharist is a great gift, great blessing, but it's also very humbling. It is saying, yes, I cannot do this alone. It is saying, yes, I need you, Lord. It is saying, yes, I believe I can receive you literally inside of me. And by doing so, I also have to recognize that I'm not good enough to do that without your help. The reception of the Eucharist, the embracing of the cross, all of it is a huge declaration that your life is not about you. It's about something so much bigger than you. It's about God. It's about doing what God put you here to do, recognizing that you are his, and you were put here to be at his service. Again, priest, prophet, king. King just means we're in service to the king. We are put here to be in the king's service. And while in the king's service, he can bless us very immensely. There are times where being in his service means we're really deep in the trenches and we're dirty and we're bloody and we're fighting and it's hard to see hope. And there's other times where being in the king's service means we're celebrating. We're celebrating a victory, we're celebrating a win, or he is blessing us. He's bestowing great gifts upon us. Some people's lives for Christ look a lot more like one than the other. And that's not about fairness. It's about what you were put here to do. And it doesn't mean that if you have a life that's been more in the trenches, it doesn't mean that God is not blessing you. It just means that there's something that he still wants you to do for him in those trenches. And if you are getting so many blessings from the Lord and your life seems like it has been very comfortable because of his blessings, that's not necessarily because you deserve it more than somebody else. It's just because God is choosing to bless you, and at this time, it is in his best interest and the best interest of the completion of his will that he would be giving you blessings. But if God is handing you great blessings or great sufferings, that is all the more reason to be turning back to him and offering them back up to him and saying, God, okay, it is really hard to have all these crosses right now. Or God, I don't really understand why you're choosing to give me so many gifts right now, but I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for my crosses. I'm grateful for my blessings. But I'm going to give them back to you so that I can be sure that I'm truly using them the way that you intend to. Maybe some of these crosses I am going through are not part of your will, and I need to pray and fight even harder to remove them from myself. Or maybe I am called to suffer greatly, but it would be comforting, Lord, to know why, to at least have some glimmer of what I need to be offering the suffering up for. Or perhaps you say, God, you've given me so many blessings, and I want to make sure that I'm using them the way you meant. Did you mean those all for me, or did you give them to me just so I could give them to somebody else? Or are you preparing me now for hardship ahead? Or are you preparing me now to help others around me who are about to go through intense hardship? That this is all things to consider. This is all what it means to live for God. This is all what it means to embrace the cross, to receive the Eucharist every Sunday, even more than that if you're going to daily Mass, or to just witness the celebration of the Eucharist if you have not been able to receive the Eucharist yet for various reasons, because you're still working out issues to bring you in full communion with the church, because there are sins on your heart that you know you need to repent of before you fully receive it. Or maybe you have not received you haven't gone through the rest of the sacraments of initiation yet, and you just have that spiritual communion, that communion of desire as you sit there and you participate in this great mystery. But this is a stumbling block because people don't want to live for anybody other than themselves. People want credit. They want to complain when things are hard. They want the hard things to be taken away. When things are good, they want to kick back. They want it to be easy. They want to just accept it all for themselves. And a lot of those are natural feelings. But God has called us to go above what is even sometimes natural. Martyrdom is not natural. It is not natural to be willing to die. What's natural is to preserve yourself to the very end. But Christians have been called to follow Christ, and Christ did not preserve himself. He gave himself for the preservation of so many people, all people. And this is the hard road that we are called to walk on. And some of us have to walk a hard road for a very long time. And some of us will have very extreme peaks and valleys, and some of us will not. Some of us will have kind of like a little bumps, little ups and downs, and just kind of have a more steady life. None of that means that you're doing it wrong or doing it right. That's all something that looks different for each disciple. But you have to be on that narrow road, carrying that cross and receiving the Eucharist to help you continue carrying it. And this will continue to be a cause of division because people do not want to accept that they need God.